The day is Thursday, October 14th, 2009. The time is 6:30 p.m. We are now continuing our interview with suspect 4010-6323, arrested this afternoon around 4 p.m. I am Detective Aaron Platt with suspect Henry Taborer concerning the murder of Natalia Willard, as also in connection with the disappearances of Rebecca Flint, missing 6 weeks, Mina Harp, missing 8 weeks, and Pia Summit, missing for 11 weeks. I am also with...
Detective Rachael Tine?
Correct. Mr. Taborer has forgone his right to have a lawyer present, along with the right to remain silent. You have been told you will only be charged currently with Natalia Willard's murder. Is that correct, Mr. Taborer?
Correct, Aaron.
If you could refer to me as detective, I would be grateful. Now, you've been rather reluctant in answering our questions, and we have a dead body. A young woman is deceased, but what is interesting is that 3 other missing young women who are also presumed dead were found with their body as well. Did you know that?
Pity, I was unaware, Aaron.
4 young lives were washed away. You understand this? When you did this, you played God, when you had no right to do so.
I do not believe it was your turn to play, Miss Tynes, which is why it puzzles me that you're so emotional already.
Are you a religious man, Henry?
Are you? The necklace under your collar hints so, though such delicate pieces of jewelry typically are adorned on the gentler sex.
It's a coincidence you noticed my necklace, when the one Natalia constantly wore in the hand of Pia at the crime scene. She was a devout Christian. She sang in her family's choir, went on missions to help the poor, a model citizen.
Was it? Very specific imagery, is it not? The Archangel Raphael struck down by another's hand. This actually reminds me of Miss Tynes' earlier comments about playing God. If you believe I play God, would I not be enjoying the fruits of my labor? Being rewarded for all my hard work?
What are you on about?
Certainly, you both have had your fair share of fatalities in your time in the force. Given medals for your contributions of shooting down those you deem deserving of your bullets. Is that not playing God? So, if I did commit the crime you're accusing me of, should I not be rewarded in some form or fashion?
That is not the same thing. You enjoy what you do. We do it out of necessity.
You don't enjoy the praise, the congratulations, and adoration, the promotions?
Enough. You have no one to confirm your alibi besides your own word. You understand how that makes you look, right?
I apologize for not being wed and enjoying my time in my own home, Aaron.
Don't be a smartass, Henry. You're not answering our questions despite waiving your right to remain silent. Tell me again, where were you the night of October 3rd?
As I've said, I was home that night reading for a seminar I would be giving the following morning. I had not realized that doing my job was a crime.
What is your profession?
Well, when I'm not murdering expensive young women, I spend most of my time in the Art Institute, where I'm a curator.
Now is not the time for jokes, Henry.
Perhaps you're right. However, we never got to reveal what your religious affiliation was, Miss Tynes. Pray tell.
Whatever my religious beliefs are have nothing to do with the case, Henry.
You're right, I will admit, but based on the way you carry yourself, your attitude towards myself and your partner, you were raised in a religious household dominated by men. Men decided your every move when you ate, slept, or even went outside. In their very own way, they played God while you simply had to endure it. You were most likely sexually abused, once again washing away your innocence and trust in any imaginable God in one fell swoop.
You know nothing about me! Shut your mouth and answer the damn questions Aaron asks you!
Rachael, breathe. He's doing this on purpose. Go, get some air, get a coffee. You're tired. This is your first big case. You need to take it easy.
Have I managed to strike a nerve? My deepest condolences if I upset Miss Tynes.
Your behavior is abhorrent, Henry. Be honest for once in your empty life. Where were you the night Natalia died?
As I've told you, I was home reading and preparing a seminar.
What seminar did you give following the day?
Well, it was about the painting we have in the gallery by Caravaggio. Supper at Emmaus. Absolutely stunning piece.
You seem very drawn to religious imagery and symbolism.
Miss Tynes, welcome back. Now, back to Aaron. I suppose I am. You know, God is a funny concept, even funnier man. Being able to decide who's allowed permission to live and who loses the privilege of life. Taking people from the earth whenever he chooses. Intoxicating, is it not?
Is that why you did it? To get that captivating feeling of power, of control over young women?
You know, it'd be hard to say, considering I did not kill them. Did you enjoy it the first time? Shooting down that robber? Did mowing down a big, scary man feel vindicating? As if killing that man somehow erased or made up for the men in your life that have so clearly betrayed you? Or is it something else entirely? Does shooting down those men remind you of the vindication you felt when you obliterated one of your very
Enough,
own?
Henry. Look at these photos. Does this look familiar at all?
Huh. Seems as though someone else has an affinity for making people into art.
Exactly. We had our own art expert check the bodies before they were removed for their autopsies. The way the victims were posed was an exact replica of that painting you gave a seminar over. You do not have an alibi, you knew the family from previous showings, and you know this piece intimately. Things are not looking bright for you, Henry.
Do you understand what this photo represents, Aaron?
Not in its entirety, I'll admit.
It's a depiction of Jesus, who, after being resurrected, reveals himself to two of his disciples. After being undercover, as one might say, the third man clueless to who he is.
Does anything you have to say have anything to do with our questioning?
Well, seeing though you still seem to be tense, I'll put it delicately. The person who committed the crime sees himself as God, or Jesus in this instance.
I don't think I understand.
Through his choices in making the decisions of life and death, the murderer is reborn and exposing his true nature to the victims.
Very well done, Mrs. Tynes. You seem to be sharper than your partner. It brings us back to how this person played God. Is it done through the control he had over when, where, and how these women died? Or is it still going? Is he still besting the police, the FBI? God has always enjoyed testing his disciples, his followers, has he not? To give them their own chance at rebirth of discovering life anew.
You aren't doing a very good job at besting us, Henry. If you are being caught.
And who says I'm caught? Is capture what you seek? To blame an innocent man to reap reward? Money in your pocket, as if I'm thrust upon a cross for innocent deeds?
You enjoy talking so much about God and his role in our lives. Do you see yourself as God? Do you feel you have the right to take lives you deem unworthy of continuing?
Do you? We have graced this topic before, but sadly got very little from you on the subject. If I do it, you say it's out of narcissistic sadism. If you do it, it's justified under the badge on your breast and the certificate on your wall.
Once again, you cannot compare the two. It is a choice of necessity, not a choice of will.
Is it not? You have the ability to decide not to shoot a man who's running, but you still do. And nobody's putting a figurative gun to your head, forcing you to shoot. So the question still stands. Do you truly believe you are any better than the monster you're painting me to be? Do you, Miss Tynes, play God as well?
You like to believe you are far smarter than other people, Henry, when in reality you are not. You are a sad, cruel man who will die alone. I've had enough of your games, enough of the patronizing tones and garbage metaphors. Admit to what you've done so we can all go home.
But I've done nothing wrong. Besides, that is, having pushed some of your buttons on accident.
Your denial is redundant and ridiculous at this point, Henry.
Maybe he feels no guilt. Or he does. Is that why you are denying your crimes, Henry?
Guilt or remorse really are tough subjects. Should we feel guilt for actions we believe were justified? Do we feel guilt when yelling at someone who deserves it? Do you feel guilt when you shoot down a man on the run when he aims a gun at you?
Of course we do. Our guilt is what separates us from people like you.
Oh, does that guilt get diminished?
It depends. Some cases are harder than others to overcome. Some we can slowly forgive ourselves for over time. Some we wear the shadow of guilt as prisoners wear shackles.
But But where is the line crossed? Who's to judge that cheating on an exam is any better than infidelity? In the eyes of the Lord, it all seems to be the same. And you are telling me that the awards you get, the praise, the dedications in the newspaper, all those things have zero impact on how you feel about killing?
Does seeing your new murders plastered all over gossip sites, newspapers, and the news take away your guilt? Do you feel guilty over killing Natalia but nothing towards Pia, Mina, or Rebecca? Or do you simply not have any guilt at all?
It's hard to say if I feel guilty about a crime I did not commit.
Oh, cut the crap, Henry. Guilt is like an old coat to you. Something once cherished, but no longer in your grip. Unlike you, we got to know these girls. Rebecca was a star soccer player, Pia had a full ride to university, Mina was going to medical school, and Natalia was caring for her siblings. You did not know them, nor did you care about the lives ahead of them. You may have had remorse over your first kill, but these girls meant nothing to you. There's no use in pretending they do now.
Is guilt for you, Miss Tines, also an old coat? Is it no longer visible to your senses? Are you able to place it in the trash buried away with all your other memories?
No. My guilt haunts me. I take no pleasure in taking another human's life, unlike you. I do what has to be done.
And who's to say that the man that killed these women did not do what needed to be done? Perhaps they were causing more harm than good in the world.
I find it very hard to believe that forced socialites were doing very much harm to the world. Being rich does not mean you deserve to die.
Perhaps not. But the way these dull, vapid girls were transformed into living, well, that's not really appropriate wording. Art is beautiful, is it not?
No. These women were bright, young, vivacious. They had their entire lives ahead of them, and you stole that from them. You have a daughter of your own, don't you?
That is true. However, my child knows her place in this world. She knows the meaning of being valuable and how art is one of those few things that are deserving of our time and money.
But how would you feel to see her dead and poised like a puppet? Guilty? I sure as hell would.
I'd be saddened to see her, but appreciative of the art she was made into. It's taking life and creating something more of it. In this case, it was spoiled, devoid brats, turning into something to be admired and awed. The murderer is revealing himself, making his art shown. At first, the girls got to see my true form, and now the world gets to as well. I would not feel guilty. No, my daughter would be art that would last for ages. Like Ganymede. Beauty beyond its time. Now, how could one feel guilt about that?
Do you hear yourself? That thinking is insane.
And unfortunately for you, Henry, incriminating.
I don't think I understand how that is incriminating, Aaron.
You just said the girls got to see your true form, Henry. You basically admitted to the crime.
No, it was a slip of the tongue, surely. I was starting to ramble.
A slip of the tongue is all we need to charge you, Henry.
That is ridiculous. I have not committed this crime, and you cannot convict me for an accident.
You have no alibi. You know everything about the way they were positioned, and you knew the family. You slipping up is just the cherry on top.
Henry Taborer, I am charging you with the murder of Natalia Willard. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You may have a lawyer present, and if you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you free of charge. Would you like to speak with us further?
No. But, Aaron, Miss Tines,
What, Henry?
Romans 3:23. Look it up.